Welcome back to YellowCard Vanguard. I'm your host, Toku from It's Toku TV on Twitch. Throughout the week, I'm streaming Vanguard on my Twitch channel. We'll be building decks, playtesting, and just having a grand old time, so be sure to swing on by. With new clan collection reveals coming out every day, you know what that means. It's time for a new chapter of clan collection cores. I want to preface this video and the entirety of the series by saying that many of these lists are entirely conceptual and surface deep, and will need your own playtesting to fine-tune. But each of these will aim to provide a way of thinking on how to take your new support in Clan Collection 3 and 4 and put it into a working deck. They won't all be optimized, but I believe they will be a good baseline to build off of. Welcome to Clan Collection Cores. If there's ever a Vanguard definition for a fallen angel, Ramiel Reverse would be it. Ramiel originally focused on supporting units that had a copy of themselves in the damage zone, getting some multi-attack off. Ramiel's biggest weakness was the soul cost associated with the cards, so we're hoping that the new Celestial support in Ramiel Reverse and her Celestial friends can give us the oomph we needed to make Celestials a viable strategy. Let's introduce the Fallen Angel. Clean up Celestial Ramiel Reverse. At the start of the battle phase, countercharge 1. Then lock all of your rearguards with different card names than any face-up cards in the damage zone. Then for every 2 rearguards we have left, we retire one of our opponent's rearguards and Ramiel Reverse gains 20k. When she attacks, you can Soul Blast the grade 3 and Ramiel Reverse gains a drive until the end of battle. Also, your opponent may counterblast 2, and if they don't, until the end of the battle, when our opponent calls cards from hand to the Guardian Circle, they must call the same number of cards as the number of cards in our damage zone at the same time. Taking her name to heart, Clean Up Celestial, Ramiel Reverse really does look to clean up the game after base Ramiel softens up the opponent with the multi-attack strategy. I can appreciate the fact that Ramiel Reverse awards us for playing towards the Celestial game plan, actually being a reverse unit that locks us as punishment, and as a reward, we get some board control and gain a lot of power. In an ideal world, we would retire 2 units and gain 40k power. I also really like her second skill. It seems middling, being at most a 5-card battle door, but what I really appreciate is the fact that you ask your opponent to counterblast 2 to be able to guard it easily. And as we've seen, as we've gone through Clan Collection cores, there are a lot of decks and a lot of clans in the format right now that don't have access to countercharge, and being asked to counterblast 2 to be able to PG can be very taxing. The new grade 2 is Emergency Celestial Daniela. When placed from hand, we can pay the cost to discard 1 and search our deck for up to 1 card with the same name as any face-up card in the damage zone and call it to rear circle. If we did not call a Celestial unit, however, we counterblast 2. Honestly, a very good consistency card to get clones onto the board. Obviously, the punishment is skewing us towards building towards the Celestial names, but what's very interesting is how easy countercharge is in the Angel Feather clan. Calling a Rescue Checker can be a free countercharge 1, and both Ramiels also countercharge. So all in all, I think you could run a lot of good generic cards and still benefit from running Daniela. The new grade 1 Celestial is Nursing Celestial Narel. On the rearguard circle at the start of your main phase, if our Vanguard is a Celestial, we can pop her into the damage zone to draw a card, and then put a face-up grade 2 or less card into the soul. Then, while in the damage zone, once per turn, we can Soul Blast 1 to search for a Celestial card name that has a unique name from any face-up card in our damage zone and put it there. If so, Narella goes to the soul from the damage zone. To be honest, a very strange card, and I think there are ways to crack it, but I'm still a bit lost on it. I can appreciate that at the very minimum, she is a way to refill soul with her first skill, and her second skill is a way to help any Celestials still on board without a matching name get a matching name. With the new cards introduced, let's take a look at what a new Ramiel Reverse list would look like. The game plan that I envision when I look at Ramiel Reverse is that she is a way to close out games that we can't on a 5-attack Ramiel turn. On this thought, I want to still focus on the base Ramiel as our main strategy to get our restands and our draws. Then, I want to follow it up by riding Ramiel Reverse when our opponent is either at 5 damage or starved for resources. In example, when paying 2 counterblasts is just not feasible for their strategy. Through this, our Ramiel Reverse becomes very hard to guard, and because Ramiel Reverse rewards us for playing towards the Celestial game plan, we will still have some attackers to finish the game off with if we manage to shred our opponent's hand with her skill. With that in mind, let's take a look at how the deck would look. The main centerpieces of our deck, Ramiel and Ramiel Reverse, are ran at 4 copies and 2 copies respectively. Ramiel is ran at 4 copies because she's our main strategy. We look to stay on the majority of the game, getting that extra hand, getting the extra attacks to force our opponents to burn resources or to push them to high damage quicker. And because of the selectivity that Angel Feather surprisingly has with their damage zone toolboxing, low copies of Ramiel Reverse are easy to pick up and keep close to the grip for the rewrite as we look to close out games. Because our main strategy is Ramiel, similarly to last season's Clan Collection core for Ramiel, we look for a lot of cards that help fix our damage zone. And because our strategies will essentially always need 2 copies of a card, we look to play a lot of full playsets. We pay a visit to an old friend in Holy Seraph Nokiel, the easiest unit to consider when we're looking for cards to pop into our damage zone that have the same name. Holy Seraph Nokiel can put an extra copy of herself in, and that's instantly a 1-card combo to get that matching name. 4 copies, of course. Nokiel also has a cute interaction with Ramiel Reverse, where she ups our damage by 1 for the turn, and if our opponent can't counterblast 2, that is 1 more card that they have to guard Ramiel Reverse with. We're going to run 4 copies of the new Grade 2, Daniela, another 1-card combo that gets us another matching name from the damage zone. We're also going to run 4 copies of Candle Celestial Sariel. Now, I'm not super hot on Sariel as a card in general because she's a very hefty cost, that much being Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1 to just put a card in the damage zone and heal a card, not even heal it back to hand. But she does what the deck needs to do, and that is to find a specific card, even herself, and put it into damage zone to get another matching name. That's about it for the damage zone setup that we run. Not a whole lot, so we do need to run cards that help find these, but most importantly, between Ramiel, Nokiel, and Sariel, we burn through a lot of soul, so I want to fix that issue by running some cards that do fill up our soul. I'm looking at 3 copies of Scaling Angel for this job. Scaling Angel does play double duty here, being able to get a card back into soul, but also put a normal unit from our drop zone into our damage zone. If we have a same named card in the damage zone as we do on the rear, this is a way to set up another matching name. We also run 4 copies of the new Grade 1 in Narel, mainly for her first skill to refill soul and cycle herself, but once again, also playing double duty with the second skill to assist any Celestial currently on board without a matching name, find her a matching name, and put it into the damage zone. Finally, in the last 8 slots, some consistency boosters. We're running 4 copies of Nakir because A, she's always going to be 13k in this deck, and B, she finds Nokiel. And Nokiel is our easiest setup for both Ramiels, and obviously she finds Ramiels as well. It may be hard to get a second copy into the damage zone, but once it does fall in there, maybe through Scaling Angel, Nakiri becomes a very formidable 18k or 23k body when playing with the base Ramiel. And in our last 4 slots, we run 4 copies of Black Acreus Yafkel, just a super good card for Angel Feathers as a whole, getting an effectively costless +1 to hand through her skill, but with the added bonus of being able to get 1 more check for a critical trigger for our Ramiel Reverse. Ramiel Reverse with a guard restrict might be an easy no guard sometimes, but Ramiel Reverse with a guard restrict and a crit might be game. As for our trigger lineup, we're going to run the standard 8 crit 4 draw 4 heal here. The 8 crits make Ramiel Reverse more threatening and the 4 draw sentinels to help gather the P. More importantly, the heal guardians give us a damage to play with if we don't have Holy Seraph Nokiel going into our grade 3 turn. Now, with Angel Feather's diverse pool of cards, there are interesting ways you can take the new support. One interesting option I thought of was similarly playing on Tachikaze's Savage Mercenary strategy, and that is to play Lucent Enforced Tarao. Now, I say this, but Tarao should also be played alongside the Missing Celestial, that being the Grade 1 Spine Celestial Yophiel. Between Yophiel, Daniela, and having a Tarao in hand, there's a really cute combo where you can use Yophiel's skill on ride to pop Tarao into your damage zone, then resolve Daniela's skill to Superior Call Tarao from the deck, getting a very nice 25k body to keep slapping your opponent with. I've also considered Adroid Lamido to act as a booster for our Ramiel Reverse. If we have a grade 3 in Soul, we can boost with Lamido and use its skill to prevent our opponent from calling Sentinels. Then, resolve Ramiel Reverse's skill to Soul Blast said grade 3 to get her effect off too, getting 2 methods of guard restrict on 1 card. Finally, to make Ramiel Reverse that much more threatening, we can also consider adding in Black Mapping Seraphiel. Salafiel is a 19k body that can get restood by base Ramiel, making her a very strong attacker, but she also performs a rescue check and could find another crit onto the Ramiel Reverse. Between her, Yellowcard and Ramiel Reverse's 3 drive checks, if we don't find a crit then wow, how unlucky. To conclude things off, let's compare and contrast Celestials to the current Angel Feather format definer, Gabriel. When you look at the end of it all, Ramiel Reverse is just a boneless Hamiel. If Ramiel Reverse had black in her name, maybe it could be a strong contender since we could dip into more damage checks for Ramiel Reverse to get more crits with, but alas, she is a Celestial. What the important takeaway from the support is that the new Grade 2 and Grade 1 make base Ramiel that much more stronger. I don't think it's outside the realm of reality to get your 5 attacks and a draw 2 on your first Ramiel turn, and that huge tempo swing may be what makes Ramiel into Ramiel Reverse strong. Not as strong nor as explosive as Gabriel and Hamiel, but a very stable game plan at the least. In any case, this has been it from me for this episode of Clan Collection Course. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this and like the video as it helps motivate us to keep the gears going. Leave a comment down below because every little bit helps the channel. This has been Toku from YellowCard Vanguard channel. Toku out.